Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
This morning by the clerk, and I'm looking forward to participating in the NRM caucus that will choose the prospective speakers and also elect them on Monday, 25th, from Kololo ceremonial grounds.
How's the feeling?
This is what you expect of an old man, really, a responsible old man.
Well, the old man himself, Andrew Mwenda, Managing Director, The Independent Publications, and a journalist. It's very senior. Good to have you and a very good evening.
Pleasure to be with you, my great-great-grandson, Simon Kagwanjala.
Wonderful. Honorable Salam Musumba from the PFF joins us tonight, clad in a gomesi and looking very wonderful. Good to see you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well,
are you supposed to be my MP?
I know you are 60.
Yes.
Although we don't usually talk about women's age.
No, I'm 60 plus.
Yes. Yes, I'm your MP.
You are an MP elect as far as I am concerned.
I am
because of Pondo, you did not take the oath prescribed by the Constitution. Did you?
Well,
you did not take the oath as prescribed.
I did the Bible.
He didn't read, because it's prescribed in the schedule. And that's not the oath you took, my brother.
You see,
unless you amend the Constitution,
let me answer
you
your
are
question.
still my MP elect.
Let me
Do take oath.
Let me answer your first question. I am your MP.
Yes.
First of all, by age.
Yes.
But also, Kamuli is part of my constituency because
Yes.
I take from the whole of Busoga,
Yes.
Bukedi, Bugisu,
Yes.
Sebei, Soroti. I have the most complicated constituency there.
Yes.
Because every 30 kilometers you change the language.
Yes.
But you never took oath.
But you didn't take oath. As prescribed
if I had not taken oath as prescribed by the Constitution of Uganda and the rules of procedure of Parliament, Adolf Mwesige
is in error. And we will draw his attention to it because that's not the oath as prescribed in the schedule.
So there is a vacancy.
No, there's a vacancy. I could displace you.
I can see secondary ignorance, and you know,
not at all.
Secondary ignorance is the
Just
most.
Just prove to me that the oath you took
is the most
oath
complicated.
prescribed in the Constitution.
Not knowing that what you know is not the truth, or is secondary ignorance. Now, for Honorable Salam, a senior legislator.
Can you play back that?
We'll be playing it back.
Yes.
In the Constitution,
yes,
there are two oaths. There are two ways of taking oath. You either swear by the Bible or a religious book for that matter, which is the Bible or the Quran, or you simply raise your hand and affirm. And it is written actually. And you have to read the text as presented. Most likely, you are not attentive.
No.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, did you say, so help me God?
Notice.
No.
I took judicial
I
notice.
did the solemnly affirm.
That's not the oath prescribed in the Constitution.
In that one, you don't mention God. No, you don't.
He did not take
when
oath.
you affirm, you don't mention God.
Take it
But when you swear, you mention God.
I want to take you to the gist of our discussion tonight.
Yeah.
You were unapologetically swearing allegiance to Anita Among. Are you standing with her in this turbulence?
I was unapologetically standing with Anita Among and Thomas Tayebwa because in February of this year, after the elections, the Central Executive Committee of the NRM endorsed them in line with earlier position that a speaker and deputy speaker, if they are serving their first term, they would be permitted, if there are no issues, to continue to serve the second term. And you remember the chairman of NRM, Yoweri Museveni, and Todwong, the Secretary General, issued a public statement telling the NRM people and the country that these were the endorsees for Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the 12th Parliament. On that basis, we were all right to stand, and I was right to stand with Anita Among. And by the way, as we speak today, they are still her and Tayebwa, because the Central Executive Committee of the NRM hasn't revoked that endorsement.
No, but she withdrew.
No. I'm saying the Central Executive Committee of the NRM hasn't revoked that endorsement. I am not aware that what she posted on social media, she also wrote to the party, to SEC. And probably, if she wrote and SEC has acknowledged and accepted it, we have withdraw, then in that case, the positions are vacant. I am not privy if she has written and SEC has received that withdrawal. I also read it on the social media. So I'm not guilty at all. I am not bothered at all with my continued support for Anita Among until SEC reviews and gives us another or other candidate. It is those candidates then, because SEC is meeting tomorrow evening, when they give us those candidates, for sure, we shall support them. Now, I also did say when I was supporting Anita Among and Tayebwa that no other party will bring a speaker and deputy speaker. It will be NRM and only NRM. This is what I said then. It's going to be on Monday.
But in the midst of the tribulations, we hardly see people who are pro-Anita Among, who will confess to be standing with her in such trying moments.
You don't see?
We don't see you there.
Well, I was at Anita Among's house this afternoon.
It's a crime scene. It's cordoned off. Who let you in?
Again, secondary ignorance. I did not see any tape today afternoon. I went at 2:30, about there. I did not see any tape marking Anita Among's property where I went as a crime scene. I did not find any security personnel linked to investigations who are barring people or even checking or asking people questions. Why are you here? No, I did not find. For the 2 hours I was there, I did not see anybody who knocked the door where I was to say, what are you speaking or what are you talking with our suspect? I did not see. I walked out after 2 hours, having had a joyful conversation with Anita. I went because she's a friend, she's our leader. When people in their low moments in these times, it's a good manners, it's humane to go and ask them, these things I'm reading, these things I am seeing, are they true? Do you need any assistance, support? Could be just psychological. That's why I went there. And I found out...
What an irony that at the same time you also went to Oboth celebration.
No. Oboth, again, secondary ignorance. Oboth, if you don't know, Oboth came to Parliament in 2011. I am among the people who urged him to come to politics. I actually supported him with money. When he won elections, in that term, the 9th Parliament, Oboth actually lived with me for the entire 5 years in my house. Oboth is actually my MP, has been my MP since that time, that area of Mwenda. He has been my MP. I support him, including this election. 3.
So you have divided loyalty?
No.
When Commander...
Yes.
When Commander asked...
Listen. Oboth is also my son-in-law. He marries my daughter, if you don't know. But we separate social issues from public political issues, if you didn't know. I don't have double loyalty. When I was supporting Among, I've given you the first reason. But the second reason, the reason is most important. Oboth, to the best of my knowledge, has not yet declared, has not picked the interest form to say, I want to be speaker. Other people have urged him. In that context, I cannot support somebody who has not said, I want to be speaker. The day he says he wants to be speaker, and as I've said, the times are short. Only 2 days. We have only tomorrow and Saturday. And Sunday. If at that time Oboth expresses his interest, and indeed NRM reviews its earlier position and brings him, then my views will be documented in the caucus of Sunday.
So who do you support for speakership?
I said support the position of the NRM. And of course, I'm not oblivious of what is going on. I know that the earth is beginning to shift towards a review on that position. When that is concluded, then there will be a vacancy and time frame for members of the NRM who are eligible, members of parliament, members of NRM of the 12th parliament, to express interest. Once SEC concludes, we shall bat for those two candidates.
Thank you. Andrew, we've been swayed by, of course, the optics. It's been so exciting seeing a Rolls Royce being taken around town, the display of Anita's wealth. What is the real story of how tables turned on Anita Among?
Oh, I don't know whether the question I should answer is the real story or what I think.
Or what are we missing?
What could be the reason? I think that there has been a convergence of two different but compatible pursuits. I believe that President Yoweri Museveni is trying to clip the wings of Anita Among, whom or in whose growing political influence in the state and in the NRM demonstrates that she has built capability to threaten his power. Then there is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is personally revolted by public exhibitions of extreme wealth and luxury by public officials, and he would like to punish that kind of behavior. So those are two different, but they are compatible and self-reinforcing interests. So I want to come to deal with the
real story.
Yes. I believe that Museveni, yes, I wrote an article on the 21st of March, 2026, this year, in the Independent. It's called the Anita Among Dilemma. And this argument I was making, within 5 years of joining the NRM, Anita Among has achieved complete mastery of parliament. If you held an election for speaker today, Anita Among would get 485 votes, which we had counted out of 529, meaning only 44 MPs were not in her pocket. That is one. Two, using her influence on the Parliamentary Commission, she had used the Parliamentary Commission to give jobs to children, nephews, nieces of so many of Uganda's political, religious, and business elites. And therefore, she was able to secure a lot broad-based loyalty and support among pillars of opinion in the different segments of our society. The third, and Museveni's people will tell you this, she had acquired a lot of influence in the judiciary. And the fourth, I think, which was the most decisive and could have become her biggest problem, was in NRM. She was new to the NRM. She runs to be vice chairperson of the NRM Women's League against Kadaga, who had been there for 40 years in NRM. Kadaga had been speaker for 20 years, deputy speaker for 10, full speaker for 10. In that contest, which has a broad-based electoral college, you know, to be elected to that job, you have the electoral college includes all chairpersons of LC3 across the country, all mayors of town councils, municipalities, and cities. Then you have to have all chairmen of LC5 and their councils. Then you have to have all MPs. You have to have all NRM leagues for women, for youth, for the disabled, for the elderly, for veterans. So this is the one job which requires you to build a political base across the whole country and across the different segments of society. In that election, Anita Among beat Kadaga by 93%. 93%. And for me, that was a sign that Museveni would not be comfortable with this kind of influence that Anita Among has. You have complete master of parliament. You have captured the entire NRM infrastructure. You have all these elite constituencies. You have one. You are powerful in the judiciary. Many people are saying she had started building constituencies in police and maybe security services. You don't ever know. Now, I want us guys to put ourselves in Museveni's shoes. I have personally had a couple of conversations, I think twice, with Anita Among. And I went to her home to express to her also this specific concern, that you have grown too much influence and you're too powerful, and that would threaten Museveni. She said she is a very loyal Museveni person. She told me her story and said, this man Museveni made me. I can never go against him. I am inclined to believe that Anita Among was sincere and that she was very loyal to Museveni. Now, of course, I have to put myself in Museveni's shoes. Museveni is a power-maximizing political entrepreneur. he should be, and is a gorilla at the same time, he must be able to look at his threats in advance and neutralize them before they materialize. So for Museveni, first it is intentions. Assuming Museveni believes, like I do, that Anita Among is sincere, Museveni has to have caution. He says intentions, first of all, are difficult to know because they reside in our minds. I can lie that I'm loyal to you and I will always be there for you when I'm not telling the truth. I'm just hoodwinking you. But let me assume that Museveni, like me, believes that Anita Among was sincere. Museveni will say, okay, the issue is really not Anita Among's intentions, it is Anita Among's capabilities. Because our capabilities can change our intentions. As this lady accumulates all this power and influence across the entire state machinery and the society, which is both NRM, which is a civic organization or a political organization, and these elite constituencies, these capabilities she's developing may in future tempt her to seek the presidency and threaten Museveni. So it is in Museveni's interest to clip her wings in time. Now, of course, there is another thing there. You know, when you're in the government, and people who read these things, they may now go and manufacture fake intelligence and tell the president, now she has mobilized Ofono, now she's mobilized General so and so. They can also sell other stories. And Museveni may act on the basis of that intelligence also.
Yeah, but Andrew, if I could interject here, you seem to be making it more political. Yet apparently the narrative of illicit wealth and stacks of money seems to be carrying the day.
Well, you see, again, in 2024 April, I wrote an article. It's called the Museveni Anita Among Bromance. You should go and read it in the Independent because these things are not new. It is you who is thinking they are new. I wrote at that time saying that, you see, Anita Among's problem is not that she was a thief or that she stole money. That is a small side effect of her management of parliament. Anita Among was taking a lot of money out of parliament, not for her personal use, but to help Museveni build a political base, to help Museveni pass legislation in the parliament. It was really a political slush fund. It is true she cribbed off part of that money, a small percentage of it, to indulge herself in gorgeous mansions, in luxury dresses, and expensive cars. That is a temporary side effect. And now I understand human beings were driven by emotional stuff. The personal takes precedence. So when we are discussing corruption, you're much more concerned about her Rolls Royce, which was a gift I think given to her for free by somebody, if I'm not mistaken. She told me this is a gift. And by the way, I should tell you, it turns out that when somebody gave her that Rolls Royce, she informed the president, should I accept it? The president gave her, go ahead, you can accept it. Even though,
you find that credible?
I would not be surprised that if it were true. And Museveni even offered to pay taxes on it. By the way, I should tell you, Museveni is a much more sophisticated political animal than people think. Remember, Museveni is a gorilla. And Museveni, if you want to know him, is like Lucius Cornelius Sulla, an ancient Roman statesman. He's half fox, he's half lion, half fox. But the fox in him is more dangerous than the lion. So,
remember 2024, the president told the world when these accusations emerged, he actually told the world that he is the one who gave Anita the first big cash, 2 billion. Do you remember that? And he said, I also gave her 200 herds of cattle. And I've returned to her home in Bukedia, and she now has 2,000, meaning she was a good herdsman. And then the president said, he also gave other people, he mentioned them and said, they don't have those cows. And so in his view, he said,
So to continue with my,
so I just want
the point
to
I was making,
believe that it's possible that the president actually gave a nod that this vehicle, and the president has, you remember when we had the dispute over Chagulani's bulletproof? Did it? Who cleared it?
So anyway, Museveni is a much more sophisticated and complicated personality. That's why he has run this country for 40 years, yet no president had ever succeeded in doing more than 8 years. So what happens is that I think the issue, therefore, was not her wealth, her ostentatious exhibition of luxury living was used, and I predicted it in 2024. You should read my article, the Museveni Anita Among Bromance, that this was her luxurious living was a rope she had given Museveni to hang her. Now, there are two aspects of that rope. in the sense that she could have done those things because she has an unrestrained appetite for luxury. But she could also have done them to say, look, me, I am very vulnerable. Anytime you want, you can take me, in which case you are secure. You get what I'm saying? So to that degree, I felt that this intervention on the part of Museveni, his driving motive is that this person has become very strong and her wings need to be clipped.
So it is about decimating a powerhouse.
Yes. Now let me ask, if you talk about corruption, I mean, how many people have stolen big money in Uganda here? 10 times more than anything Anita could have stolen. How much is this? Let me assume each of those cars is $500,000 because the Rolls Royce is $1 million. And now these Land Cruisers I'm seeing are maybe $250,000. So let me assume her entire fleet is $2 million. Those houses of ours, let me assume they're $20 million, all of them. How much money is that? But there are people who have taken out of this country much, much more money than that. They have never been attacked. So I think Anita Among made one big mistake. It's not that she stole money, it is that she accumulated a lot of power and influence, both in the state institutions, but also in civic institutions like the party and these elite societies, where she was able to secure a lot of loyalty.
So she's a victim of ambition.
She's a victim of her own success. The final thing I want to tell you, Simon, is that more than the money, I think Anita Among's greatest asset, me studying her, was her personality. Anita Among is one of the most skilled human beings in winning over people. Not with money, but with empathy and with understanding. I have a young friend, he's called Brian Kaboyo from Hoima there. He was the mayor of Hoima. I think he was defeated in the last election. He was telling me recently that when he lost the election, Anita Among picked the phone and called him. This is an ordinary mayor in Hoima to sympathize and empathize with his loss. Count how many people among could have called who lost, or who won, she called to congratulate. The other day I was jogging with an old friend from Western Uganda there. He told me he has a construction company and he got a contract and people in the ministry are trying to eject him, use power and influence and kick him out. And a friend said, let me take you to Anita Among when she was speaker. He takes him there and Anita calls the PS and tells him, no, speaks in Rusoga. By the way, Anita Among speaks so many languages. She speaks Rutoro. Do you know that? Okay, Rutoro, because she worked in a central bank in Hoima. Okay, not so much Rutoro, but she speaks sufficient Rutoro to pass by. So she speaks in Rusoga with this PS and the man's contract is restored. She never asked for anything. So I have talked to so many people and discovered, because I have a keen interest in Anita Among, keen interest, because I could see this person as meteoric rise. And I realized that she has very good interpersonal skills, hold a second, which make her a very powerful candidate, especially in an electoral college. If we put her in an electoral college right now in that parliament, she would still win. You can see this party still supporting her. So the final point I was going to make about Anita Among is that as she accumulated a lot of power, she was naive not to realize that Museveni would be scared, not by her intentions. She believed her intentions were pure and she would never threaten Museveni. But Museveni does not believe in intentions. Museveni's risk comes from capabilities. The capabilities she had accumulated created potential for her to be tempted in the future to use those capabilities to seek the presidency. And that's where I think her problem is.
Well, Honorable Salam, how are you watching the entire episode?
It's shabby. Very shabby. What is said tonight and what is said in the media and what we watch are counter to each other. This narrative keeps changing from the same mouth of my boyfriend here, Andrew Mwenda. I think he's talking too many things which come to nothing.
He's giving his perspective.
He's actually scattered. He's even lost the plot. Just ask it in simple terms. What are you trying to do? What is it that you're doing to this nation? Because this an ordinary Ugandan is wondering, what is it that you are doing? You have messed up the whole institution of parliament. You have messed up the speakership. You have messed up new members of parliament. who have not even stepped in the chamber. You have confused the whole country. Everybody watching wonders what's happening. Is it really that which Andrew Mwenda is saying? This is a power play. It's not even about influence. It's about who holds the power of the other institution. If there was some 7 family person who would get it, they would get it. They would be assigned, like other things have been assigned to them. But now that they are not in control, they are asking themselves, who can we entrust our future, our investment, our company called Uganda to? And so it's a succession plan that is gone amiss. It's a succession plan that they don't know how to deal with yet. So it's not even about these things they're saying that is threatening the president.
Isn't it far-fetched to relate it to the succession plan?
It is a succession war at play, and succession at different levels. Succession in the NRM, if you want to take it that way. There's succession in institutions. There's also succession in regions. Which region is going to take which power? So they speak to, they assure Honorable Mao to be on standby. They keep changing their minds. Then they are told that the biggest threat is Anita Mong. They go for her full throttle. And then they realize, no, it's not, the public is not buying it as a corruption war. And so they keep changing. I don't know where they will end, but it's really very shabby, and it leaves.
Yeah, but you've had the masterminds of this operation pledging to cast the net wider.
They can't.
In the fight against corruption.
It's just a weapon. You know, they've weaponized the word corruption. It's a tool at their disposal to pick and choose who they rein in. If Anita did her work, her footwork, and her political work, they could easily abandon the plot. Because what they expected out in the public, the feedback is different. And so that's why they are gray. They are taught this way, are taught that way. They are not clear exactly what they are plotting.
What did they expect, in your opinion?
They expected 100% public support. And then there was a pushback to say that, listen, no, you have stolen Uganda Commercial Bank, you have stolen the railway, you have stolen the airline, you have stolen bigger things. If it is balancing terror in theft, you are worse thieves. And so the pushback has come back to them, and now they are changing language. You can see that now, no, you know, it's not about corruption, but it has been billed as a fight against corruption. There's that Swahili word they keep talking about. Something in Swahili with this psychology.
Maliza ufadili.
It's a lie. It's a lie. What we are watching is not the true story.
Okay.
This is a.
The story is both complex and intriguing in many ways, because what we've seen so far is security storming the residences, pulling out very expensive cars, displaying her houses all over the place.
That is creating,
it's aided by media.
A psyche. It's creating a psyche, preparing ground to a buy-in that look at this opulence. I mean, people have bigger things we know of. You know, we know. You and I have been here long enough to know. With hindsight, I can tell you about the investigations that took place in Parliament, about who stole what, who ran away with what, and talking about a Rolls Royce which can't even run on a Maram Road to Bukede is just peanuts.
Okay. At the onset of his term, President Museveni said, "This is Chisanja, no sleep, and I am going to fight corruption."
That's why we are not sleeping. because every notification just tells you something, that Parliament of all institutions is a crime scene. Where have you ever seen that? That the institution called Parliament, the only institution with powers to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of a country, is under attack.
Thank you. There is a sense that a crisis is looming, especially in the national resistance movement, as PLU now steers the show.
No, it is stealing the party.
Well,
It is stealing NRM.
well,
Like you have been stealing our parties, now you are stealing your own.
well, Simon and viewers, I'm now in Parliament. You are going to hear me more on the
You haven't
things,
taken oath.
on the things that you know. I have 40 years of experience of watching and participating. You are going to hear me more, and I want to concur with
Your grandfather.
my son, because you know they came from this one, settled this way. So Anita, the persona, regardless of what you think about her, she has a good persona. You have seen her. There's nobody she doesn't hug. Have you noticed? Today was my first time to visit her. And actually, I was led, let me, with her permission, most likely she's watching. I actually had a conversation with her in her bedroom. I was seated on her bed. And
I'm sure you were on a different mission.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could be. But also, this is a story many people who have visited her at her home told me, that she finds it very easy to take somebody to have a conversation from her bedroom. So if somebody takes you that way, I think you would find it irresistible, most likely, not to like that persona, no matter the accusations. 2, officially we have been told is fighting corruption. In our laws, is it the job of the CDF and the military to fight corruption in the civilian institutions? Then
The other institutions were sleeping.
then you ask yourself of what evidential value that evidence gathered is or will be to the courts of Uganda. If you go with soldiers, you go with fire trucks to either threaten or intimidate somebody to open their house.
You go with saws.
You go with swords.
Power saws.
I have been told that on the first day, there was no search warrant. The first search warrant was brought the following day. If it is fighting corruption, that should stand the test of the law in court. Would it be? So to me, the question of abuse, I would expect, and I think we are going to challenge on the floor, bring audited accounts of Parliament and we see which money is lost by who. It's not just saying that because somebody has good houses, of course, Anita throws her wealth in the face of people and can be reversive. Yes, it is. Especially when not many people know you as a business person. The most way they know you is as a public official.
Yeah, but there was an exhibition, a parliamentary exhibition.
I don't go by exhibition. I don't expect the state of Uganda to rely on media exhibition. That can be a tip-off where you start.
A whistleblower.
A whistleblower.
Yeah.
But I don't expect the CID of Uganda, the IGG of Uganda, to use that now to carry somebody to the public.
Yeah, but you've had the public outcry.
Not to the slaughterhouse.
Even the president himself at one time complained about
you are the ones who are
budget corruption.
No, you are the ones who are talking. You are the one who's talking about the rule of law. When you say the rule of law, what does it mean? If you accuse me, the accusation must be up to the standard of the law. That's what it means.
You have refused to defend Dr. Besigye.
No,
I'm talking
about today.
Today,
Now,
that
now
was
let me ask
yesterday.
you, if you're investigating corruption, do you go and put members and trucks to barricade as if you're dealing with the Al-Shabaab? So for me, I'm raising those because I think if you add 1 + 1, it will be equal to 5. What he's saying, that I think it is...
So many things are not adding up.
Not adding up. I would challenge the people who are conducting this, let them give the public the update. Since they have decided...
A daily update.
Yeah, since they have decided to play...
Public,
since they have
public
decided
show.
to play to the public gallery via the media.
Yes.
Do you find that normal? That everything they leak to the media, they show the media? Do you find that normal? That really you are prosecuting, you are investigating a criminal case. Do you find it normal to say, because we have found an expensive car of opulence, according to you, and you announce we are going to sell it and take back the money? Is that how criminal investigations are concluded, prosecuted? That you find something in my compound and immediately say, announce, you are going to auction, you are going to sell it? Is that the standard of the laws of Uganda? This thing is embarrassing.
We do not have standards.
This thing,
let's look at it as if... Let's look at it as if the CDF is now trying to buy into public trust.
No.
Because when it comes to...
No, that's not how the laws of Uganda work, that you go and dance to the public if you want to buy. If you're fighting corruption, there are procedures in the law. There are procedures in the law. And I shudder. I admit.
Don't shudder.
I admit.
You built this monster.
Yes, we did.
Don't.
We did. Don't you find, Mwenda, I think Mwenda is shy. Because when you say this power and transition, haven't some people said that they have dreamt, or other people have dreamt on their behalf that they would be president? Do you find that, don't you connect those dots? Even if it was a joke, do you joke on state matters of that nature? Is that how we do things? So please. And now I go back, and I agree with Salam that I think the NRM is being hijacked. And I'm going to have the right forum, because we are going to have a caucus. If NRM has endorsed candidates, and along the way, the candidates get challenges like the one Anita is being accused of, is that how you review the candidate you have endorsed, that you allow another pressure group to come and say, we are now, and somebody says, you see, I've talked to so-and-so, and so-and-so has told me that your chairman has also endorsed. Is that how we want to run NRM? And also government, is that how we want to run it?
And then they go to the extent of rallying all NRM, and all NRM MPs are buying.
No. They didn't rally NRM. They were clever. They said PLU leaning members of parliament and other MPs who are leaning to PLU. They didn't mention NRM.
Yeah, but look at more than 300 MPs.
I'm saying maybe you can qualify it, or you can term it, you can describe it as the foolishness of the NRM MPs, because they shouldn't have accepted.
Already foolish?
Or inclusive. Or naivety, or timidity.
Or all.
Or and who doesn't know in this country that there are very few politicians at national level who have their own political gravitas, that they can say, here I am, this is not right, this is right. How many? So I think there are people who are taking advantage, and I agree with Salam that we have been building this type of politics.
Monster.
This type of politics where you find nobody who has their own gravitas. They look over their shoulders.
Yeah, but
and I don't think that's good.
No,
I don't think that's even good for the NRM. I don't think so.
When you're looking at the gravitas, or rather the hijack of NRM, it's now Kabanda stealing the show and issuing directives.
Well, that can
There's
be...
There's no stealing the show.
That can
He's
be
the
temporary.
one talking.
That can
There's
be
no
temporary.
show.
We have seen situations that are temporary. Whether the NRM members and leaders particularly will rise to the occasion is a different matter. When I say this, I am trying to tickle their mind to say not all is well. We can take comfort because comfort zone is good. But is it the best? No. So, yes, the opulence of Anita, even the corruption, even the abuse may be there. But that's not how things are, that's not how things should be done. And I'm just not talking about ask, you know, what, because Anita is not the first person. You remember Jim Muhwezi and Mukula.
Global Fund.
Yes. Did we achieve?
Jim went to Luzira.
Did we achieve?
Mukula.
Bukenya went to Luzira. Did we achieve? Why? Because of the way those issues were handled. In the case of Geoffrey Kazinda and Chandi Jamwa, where things were handled properly as they should be, didn't the state secure a credible outcome?
So if it is a fight against corruption, the state is shabby.
I think in this particular one, it is shabby.
Well,
and others, and I can say, I foresee that it's likely to end the way the one of Kenya, even if Anita was taken to court tomorrow, is likely to end the way the one of Kenya ended, the way the one of Muhwezi, Mukula, and others ended, which is not useful to the country.
Andrew, I'm looking at the key players in this entire saga. A Kabanda who was hitherto a strong ally, a dear friend to Anita Among, is being used or is running the show. What does that suggest to you? You are a member of the PLU.
First of all, I should tell you, Kakwanjal, I am not a very good person at discussing these details of the legal procedures and all this because I consider them to be secondary. I'm much more interested in the big picture of what it is that Anita Among's problems are telling us. As I told you earlier, Anita Among's problems tell us that there is a power struggle.
Yeah, but this is critical.
Yes.
The issue I'm raising
because
is also very critical.
Kabanda's personal relationship with Anita Among, I'm not an expert at it. And I cannot go to discuss that. But what I want to discuss...
So is he being used to hijack NRM?
I do not want to discuss the role of Kabanda in NRM. I am much more interested in the big picture of what is happening in Uganda's politics. So I want to come to both Betty, my granddaughter here and ex-girlfriend, which is incest, Salam Musumba and Ofono Pond. You see, Ofono raises an important issue. Why is the CDF involved in this matter? Where does he get this authority? I think that we as Ugandans need to think deeply about what is going on in our country and how our democratic process has led us to a bad place. Let me begin with what is visible. If you go and talk to people in the public, people are very happy with Muhoozi. They feel General Muhoozi has taken action that has been lacking. There is abuse of public resources in Uganda. There is exhibition by public officials of excessive wealth, and nothing takes place. And for all her strength, Anita Among was the poster child of that kind of exhibition. This has been her issue. People in 2024, they were doing parliamentary exhibition. They were showing her houses, her cars, her things like that, her dresses. So to that degree, his actions have been met with incredible, overwhelming, massive support across the entire country. Now, I have seen an article written by Asman Chiyinji criticizing me on this matter for celebrating Muhoozi's actions. And it's insightful. He's very critical of me, and I appreciate his argument that we need to strengthen our democratic institutions, not to allow a soldier to come and run roughshod over them. And Ofono Pond is making a similar point. It's a very good point. But that point is theoretical. The practical matter is that the conduct of our democratic process has led us to a place where Ugandans are frustrated with the quality of governance and are looking for a strong person to come and run roughshod over rights, disregard due process, if only he can resolve these things. Now, that cannot be a permanent solution to the country's problem. Of course, you need to build institutions. Now, I want to show you part of the problem of our democracy in Uganda, and I don't think our democracy, as it's currently constituted, can answer these problems.
May I request that we take a very short break and we're on?
No. That's not what I'm doing. You are getting my point wrong. I'm simply saying that the issue we are facing about Anita, her problems is not simply because she's tall. I'm simply saying that the critical issue in this saga is that she had accumulated a lot of power that threatened Museveni's power. She had accumulated a lot of influence that threatened Museveni's power, or at least created the potential for her to be a threat in the future, and Museveni needed to neutralize her. I don't deal with those other simple things, and I'm not creating a more equivalence. Mwenda may have accumulated a lot of power, but not rather a lot of money, stolen a lot of money, but not threatened Museveni's power. Museveni is a power maximizing political entrepreneur.
So the key denominator here is, once you bid for power in NRM,
yes,
it's a sin.
So I'll give you an example. Among the people who have become so powerful in Uganda, take an example of Kale Kaihura. How did he end? Kale Kaihura was a very loyal person to Museveni, and up to now I believe so. Would never have threatened Museveni's power. But Museveni was convinced that he had accumulated a lot of influence that could give him capability to seek the presidency. Amama Mbaba is the same thing. All of them ended in being fought.
Bukenya.
Bukenya, yes, exactly. So where Anita Among, I felt, although I think she's so politically brilliant, what she failed to do is she believed, I think because in her heart she felt she was loyal to eternity, to Museveni for eternity. She did not put herself in Museveni's shoes to say, if you have this mastery of the whole parliament, mastery of the NRM infrastructure, mastery of different institutions of state and society, that this can create potential for Museveni to fear you.
But how in the first place did President Museveni allow her to accumulate all this power?
She accumulated it because she was doing his bidding. Anita Among would never have accumulated that amount of power if she was not helping Museveni achieve his ends. So if you're in Museveni's shoes, there are people you use. In trying to use them, they may accumulate a lot of power. Because for you to be able to control that parliament, you need to have sizable influence. Because what she was doing in parliament, she was not doing it for Anita Among, she was doing it for President Museveni. So that's the contradiction of power that Anita Among found herself in. What she was doing in the house was to achieve Museveni's ends. But in trying to achieve Museveni's ends, she accumulated a lot of influence. That influence became a threat to her boss. Then her boss said, I'm clipping your wings. So he will raise another person, and that person will fall.
So this is a Museveni-Anita war, right?
I think that is the fundamental. The fountain matrix of this struggle is Museveni trying to clip the wings of a person who had potential to become a rival. I told you there is a convergence of different but compatible pursuits. There is Mohozi's pursuit of corruption. We must clamp down on corruption. And there is Museveni's pursuit of power. I must clip the wings of any person who has potential to become a rival. These are two different, but they are compatible interests or compatible pursuits. So it is not that each one of them is acting with the same motive. Mohozi's motive is clear. Ostentatious display of luxury and wealth by a public official is unacceptable.
Yeah, but why should he be the one pursuing people who have accumulated? We have systems, we have institutions in place.
Well, let me tell you first. Actually, I'm happy you have come. That's the point I was trying to raise earlier. That there is widespread frustration in Uganda with the conduct of politics in our country. And Mohozi's actions have generated mass excitement. People are so happy in Uganda. And I'm telling you, you'll be surprised.
I'm listening.
You can do a poll right now. Mohozi is the most popular human being in Uganda.
I need to zoom out on the reaction of all.
Yes. I think right now Mohozi is the most admired public figure in Uganda because they feel he has slain a beast of corruption. So if you're blind to that fact, this country one of these days, and its democratic institutions will collapse on our heads without recognizing what has happened. Right now, these people were in Chankwanzi. Let me show you one of my criticisms of this great man called Yoweri Museveni. Ofono Pondo was in Chankwanzi with MPs of NRM. Museveni said, okay, all of you have been in campaigns, you are suffering from a lot of dust, I'm going to give them some allowance. I'm going to give each one of you 100 million. So they left there, they came to Kampala here, they went to State House there at the Okello House. Each of them was given 20. Tomorrow they have a caucus meeting. They're likely to get the balance of 8 or they get 50. Museveni has been using money to duplicate policy. This is a disaster of what he has introduced. Now, of course, I don't want to be unfair to Museveni. Democratic politics is built around money. There is an American philosopher called Will Durant. He said there are 3 forms of government known to man. Theocracy, ruled by religious clerics, aristocracy, ruled by birth, and democracy, ruled by money. If you look at the last US election of 2024, 88% of the senators who won the election used more money than their rival who lost. 93% of members of the House of Representatives who won an election had spent more money than their rival. Meaning, okay, let me put it so, I'm conscious of the fact that it is possible, we do not know the cause of the chain of causation. Is it that the use of money is what creates political success? Or once people see you as a potential winner of an election, it attracts money to you. So is popularity a magnet for money, or is money the driver that makes people win elections? But what I would say, the two are self-reinforcing. So money has become such an entrenched part of Uganda's politics. Not because it's dictatorial politics as many Ugandans think, but because it's a democracy in a very poor country. This Ofono Pondo here, this Salam Musumba was an MP. Ask her. If you're an MP, you will find that your constituents, when you go there, they have a funeral. They want you to transport the body, maybe buy a coffin, pay for the expenses. They have a church fundraising, you have to pay. You Kagwanja ran for elections, you know these problems. They have, a child doesn't have fees, this one has a medical problem, they come to you. So members of parliament are inundated with demands from their constituents to give them money. In elections, there is a demand for money.
Right.
So members of parliament end up depleting their assets, depleting their savings in order to win elections, and they try to recoup that money through parliament, how either they lobby to be appointed ministers so they can have access to bribes, or they sit on a powerful oversight committee of parliament where civil servants can bribe them who come to appear there to have their budgets approved or their financial indiscretions covered up in the public.
Mwenda, do you find Anita's accumulation of wealth to sickening proportions disgusting, or it's just fine?
I am morally revolted by Anita Among's ostentatious exhibition of wealth, even though I'm conscious of the fact that people have stolen much more money than her in Uganda. Yes. I find it morally revolting, but I tell you, Kagwanjala, me as an individual, I try to separate my personal feelings, my morals, from my analysis, because I put myself in the shoes of politicians. That's why I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Museveni and recognize that Museveni himself faces a dilemma. Why is he giving these people money? Why is he giving them money? Because he wants them to vote the way he wants. Democracy is about buying support. You see, there are 3 pillars of power. There is the power of ideology. That is the power to persuade. Then there is the third pillar, the second pillar of economic power, the power to bribe. Then there is a third power, military power, the power to coerce. I can convince you through ideological suasion. I can bribe you by gifts and money and things, or I can force you to toe my line using military power. Now, Museveni abandoned ideological power and has largely relied significantly on the power to bribe, which takes 60% of his effort, the power to coerce, which takes 30%, the power to convince is now 10%.
Well, thank you. Honorable Salam, do you imagine that the internal foundations of the NRM have now been shaken to the core by this scandal and by the way Anita Among, a very influential figure who rose through the ranks at a very meteoric rate?
You see, the NRM as you knew it, as the movement, it's still the NRM. You know, even they stole the name.
There's NRM, there's the
They even stole the name. So the journey, the political journey, the genesis of what we are talking about, the political animal we are talking about, has facets that need more time to discuss. But the foundation of NRM is shaken and is stumbling because, one, they have gone against their own internal rules. If you remember the Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga in the contest for SEC, said that their rules indicate that you must have been a member for 10 years.
Where
Now,
is
in their rules, in your internal rules, I'm talking about what I had.
Okay.
And so they overrun that in their internal rules. So they're working on a ruleless way. When you look at their SEC, there's rumor in town that their SEC is even bribable. Their SEC is bribable.
The top organ.
That top organ is bribable. That's the talk in town. Not even for big money, for $10,000 to endorse people. So, following what Mwenda is talking about the democracy of rented support, of hire, the highest bidder, that's where we have brought ourselves to. So there's nothing, and NRM has spent more time, instead of building itself and securing itself in internal processes, building a cadreship and all that. They've spent it trying to kill other parties, spent it looking to steal people from other political parties. Now they've run dry. I'm glad they've been outfoxed by their own wayward procedures, that they have come now full square to look at themselves in the mirror and wonder where they are at. They are wondering loudly the way we have wondered. And so we are at the same spot, the same ugly political spot as a country. If the biggest party, as it claims to be, is this messed up?
Claims or is?
Claims. Because you cannot have all that, all those numbers and fail to govern. You have failed to govern. That's why you have orders coming from another quarter where you have a fully employed secretariat. What is that secretariat for? It is the political dialogue, the ideologue of the whole enterprise. But what are they saying? They are doing the good manners. They are like priests. Oh, we are going to talk about that one. They don't offer any political direction as an entity that should be doing so. You have your entire membership in the countryside lost and not found. They are also wondering what has happened to their party. One has asked me, we elected NRM. How come it is PLU giving us orders? What has happened? They are wondering, they elected another president. Do they have another one now? These questions are out there in the public, stated in a simplified way, but they mean the heart and soul of the confusion that we are at. Listening to Andrew here, Andrew, you have lost the plot. Whatever you are plotting,
What
you've
was
lost
the plot
it.
anyway?
Good question.
The plot was transition. It is transition, trying to displace NRM and replace it with PLU.
And what have we lost?
Determining the leadership.
Yeah, but
And-
it's
and
now,
setting new-
it's now clear that
It's
PLU
not,
is
it's not
setting the
clear yet.
agenda.
Listen, it's not
and
clear
NRM
yet.
is playing second fiddle.
So let me ask, why is NRM calling for all these meetings that it should have called for earlier on? Why? You put the cart before the horse?
To implement the directive of PLU.
Of PLU, and this is what we are waiting to see. You see, we are also jumping ahead of ourselves. The whole plot will come full circle on Sunday, and I will be in the city just at close range to see and hear what is going to befall the NRM.
Well-
Because the NRM has rejoiced when it's breaking our parties. It has rejoiced. OO here has been at the head of
Yes.
it, and I want you
I
to
have been
know.
participating in breaking.
You've been participating in breaking. Now you are breaking your own neck. And we are happy about it.
Well, in the midst of the storm, Anita Mong came out and publicly withdrew from the race for speakership. How does it change the dynamics?
That's not how they withdraw. Because in the first place, the NRM had not indicated, had not called for interest, expression of interest. It hadn't. You know, they've been playing in the corridor. They've been doing all the mucky things that now that they have failed, everybody has failed to benefit from the muckiness. They must go back to the rule-based order of the party, if they have any rules. So everything we are going to see by the close of the weekend.
So could this be a precursor of more drama that the country is going to witness going forward?
Yes, it is inevitable. The minute you amended the Constitution to remove term limits, you closed the door for a smooth transfer of power. When you added the removal of age limit, you left this country to run amok, and now the reality has dawned on you that a transition must happen, and the one provided for constitutionally of no limits, of no terms, does not provide a secure way of giving the power back to the people who want it.
I'll ask the same question to OO. Could the current state of things be a precursor to more drama or more reality of the new politics playing out within the NRM?
Well, let me first respond to my
grandfather.
He likes saying he's my grandfather. That's okay. I will take it. NRM has been on the steering wheel for 40 years. There are many institutions who have restructured government, who have created new institutions. NRM, therefore, cannot have an excuse that we are the ones who wrote the Constitution, the laws governing the judiciary, and so on. We cannot run away from the standard of the law we established for investigations.
You know, whenever he talks about standard of law,
yes.
He reminds me that Dr. Besigye is in Luzira.
I'm talking about entire governance. I have been on this show and said we cannot be the ones being accused of doing the things that Amin was doing or Oboteto was doing. Therefore, it is an indictment on the NRM and leadership of NRM to say that, you see, we can, in a democracy, we cannot plug the loopholes where people carry out abuse and corruption. No. If we think that the police, which the laws of Uganda gives powers to investigate and bring to the fore these issues, let us write a new law and say we are now giving it to the army. And that the army, the head of the army will be the one directing criminal investigations in Uganda. And that will be the law. Then we move with it. Then everybody knows in Uganda we have said police can't do anything. It is only the army. That's what we should do.
Disband the police.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or create a new one. But we cannot say the police is one which has power to investigate corruption and so on. It is the judiciary which has powers to try and so on. And then we subvert their power and give to other people. No. That's not acceptable. And I think this parliament has the body now. I would implore my colleagues that we need to retrace where NRM.
Which colleagues are you talking about?
In Parliament.
The colleagues who will be summoned and the
in
following day they
Parliament,
turn up in numbers.
No, you can,
falling all over themselves.
You can lose steps backwards and also move backwards. You can break and build. I would want that out of all this, probably we can have a conversation about a new convergence on how we should do things. Because you are talking about Besigye. I agree that we let Ugandans down when we are raising issues of Besigye. Because now somebody looking at casual and says, if they can surround the home of a speaker who left a day ago, search her premises without a warrant, such warrant.
In full glare.
Global glare.
Yes. And they did, because I think they were doing it wrong. I don't know whether they want to write a film. I don't know. These guys who are doing those. Somebody will ask, how about a small man in Mwenda in Mwenda, how do state operatives, state institutions handle them when they find themselves in the midst of this kind of accusation?
But the issue...
So I don't agree with you, Mr. Mwenda, that you are saying that we should now accept as normal that should the armed officers are the
but Mwenda says the CDF is getting applause for...
Well, I suspect this also is being done probably to get to generate pseudo popularity, so that when that time for transition, they say, so this is the man, this is the person, no, these are the people who saved us. You remember Magufuli when he was Minister of Works in Tanzania? But good enough for him, he was a member of CCM, he was a civilian, and was therefore eligible to run in the CCM. Now, this is not the first time NRM is getting things wrong. We pride ourselves that often we eventually find our way.
Yeah, but I think it's also a rude awakening to the NRM. Yeah, NRM saw the rise of Anita Among and her primitive accumulation
not
to the chagrin of so many Ugandans.
No, not rise. Shepherd. Because the mother here has told you, the person who gave Anita Among, when she was not even NRM, leeway to conduct special operations, critical operations on behalf of NRM, on behalf of the president, was the leader of the NRM. So Anita did not rise just by herself. Today, when I visited her, she actually told me, said, I asked her, this thing you wrote on Twitter, climbing down, recanting your endorsement that you are no longer interested. He said, yes, I'm the one who wrote. I even sent a WhatsApp message to my brother Obot, who appears to be now enjoying both the NRM and PLU support. I texted him and I said, I am going to support you. And then she added the rider to me. She said, I wish I would be in the caucus and actually parliament. I want to be the one to nominate Obot. Because then she said, I am the second national vice chairperson of NRM. During the campaign, I'm the one who said, we shall only campaign for the official candidates. If NRM has shifted its preference to Obot or any other candidate, I will go by that candidate. That's what she told me. I will go by that candidate.
Among is under house arrest, isn't she?
No, to the best of my knowledge. I said here earlier on that I was not checked, at least when I went there, and I was not the only one there. I found other people.
Was she invited to caucus?
They have invited all members of. For us, we invite by all of us are on the WhatsApp platform of the government office of the government chief whip. They don't give individual invitations. At least me, that's how I was invited. I want to believe, and I know for sure that she's with us on the same platform of the government chief whip.
Would you rather she's invited to make her case?
That's caucus can't be a court to listen to criminal accusations or allegations. No. So I wouldn't recommend that should be. Because it is the state accusing her. It is not NRM accusing her of breaking the moral code in the NRM constitution. No. If it had been NRM Todong charging her, yes, maybe. But even then, NRM has a disciplinary committee at the national level chaired by Haji Moses Chigongo. But since this is a state action, it should be the state, shouldn't come to the NRM caucus. And since she's not physically charged and sent to a prison, she is therefore available if she so wishes to come. And maybe if she says, I'm going to the caucus, we want to see. Is there police at her gate preventing her from coming? Then we shall say, why is she not here? But at least for me, she says she would want to make that case for Obot or any other candidate that sake of NRM, where she is a member. I'm waiting to see, because SEC is sitting tomorrow.
Yeah, but the matter of speaker and deputy is now fait accompli.
No.
It is?
No. Please, I am using the word secondary. Don't insist if you don't know. At least listen. SEC has been summoned tomorrow
endorse.
To review. No. To review the endorsement that had been made. Should they vary, then it will direct Tango Doi now to open call of interest. We call it call of interest, expression of interest.
Expression of interest.
And then we can use tomorrow and Saturday for NRM MPs who are eligible to go and pick those forms.
But can a seemingly lame duck SEC veto a position of the CDF and his father?
Well, as far as I know, the Constitution of Uganda and the Constitution of NRM, SEC is not under the CDF. But any other person, not just the CDF, anybody can hijack SEC if they are asleep. I don't want to believe that SEC is asleep. I want to believe that the meeting called tomorrow, knowing what, and more so now that Aneta herself has said she no longer wants to be in contention. And as I said here, I'm not privy if she has formally written to the chairman of the Electoral Commission, the Secretary General of NRM, or even the national chairman that I'm no longer interested.
Do you think she was under duress in writing this?
I did not ask her if she's under duress, but I asked her if she is the one who wrote, and said, yes, I'm the one who wrote, and I'm going to support a candidate brought to us in the caucus by SEC. Now, I want to believe that that meeting tomorrow is actually going to review and come up and direct Tango Doi, the chairman of our Electoral Commission, to open the gate for new people. As far as I know, Obot is actually, because of those, because some politics is done on the top, some is done in the ground. I'm also privy that Obot is also doing his footwork, like many other people are doing their footwork. Because after all, we only have 3 days to go. So, I'm sure that SEC tomorrow is going to vacate its earlier endorsement made in February, and therefore allow people to come up. It appears to me also, because I was in Parliament the whole of today, I was in Parliament the whole of yesterday, I am on many platforms of the NRM MPs, convergence, even when steps were jumped or were directed by PLU, it appears to me that there is a convergence indeed around Obot.
You are an NRM historical. How do you feel that now NRM is working, being unprecedented, left, right, and center?
See, NRM has absorbed many people. Many of them probably don't have the ideological orientation of the NRM, but they're in charge. That's a fact of life, even in your own home. Your children will say, no, you're not going to sell this piece of land, because they've been influenced either by the mother or by the father that we don't sell the land. And so that's a fact of life. Now, is NRM having capability to say, no, we were going wrong, let's move?
So the party is in dire straits now?
No. If it was in dire straits, it wouldn't be convening its sake, and it wouldn't be doing what I'm telling you, that certainly I know, that most likely they are going to vacate that endorsement. And the beauty of this one now is that we are not in the situation of 2021. You remember we were in that situation in 2021 with the Right Honorable Rebecca Aritwala Kadaga. Anita Mong, at least what she told me and what you yourself have quoted, appears to me to have seen that probably she can't fight back, because according to what she said, it would be detrimental to the party if she fought back. She seems to be accepting her place.
Cowed into accepting?
No. When I was speaking to her, there was no gun on her head. She seems to me to have accepted that situation, that her candidacy for speakership of the 12th Parliament is no longer tenable. I think that would be the right phrase to use. And therefore, I think that's even why she sent that statement. And by the way, I even asked her, I'm going on the show. Would you want me to repeat what you have said on the? She said, yes. I can't go back on my words. I've already written, I've already been talked to, I've sent a message to both. I can't go back on my word. I'm not interested. And then she added, I have achieved more than I bargained for. who knew that me, after just 3 months in NRM, I would be elected a deputy speaker. And within 2 months, on the basis of unfortunate incident of our senior dying, I would become the speaker. So I have achieved more than probably I bargained for. And in fact, she then told me that...
So she's been humble.
Yeah. So yeah, she has, I think, I want to use the word, she has accepted that her candidacy for speaker is no longer tenable. And then she even told me, said, by the way, even in 2021, when Olanya died, Jacob, I had declined to run to replace him. She said she was persuaded by, I want to say, by Honorable Mao, this is what she told me, and by another person from that area who was very powerful.
They said the big fish has been picked to serve in the NRM. Is there anything now coming to pass that you suspected?
The hype, like Honorable Monto says, it's really the end of term when you've served your tour of duty that should write. They call it the epilogue, that should write your conclusion. So yes, they did fish, and that's where NRM has weakened itself and its internal processes, because it has invested more time and resources into getting uncooked things from elsewhere instead of growing inside itself the ideological base, and so they fall prey to outside influence. There was no fish they caught, because Anita Among was not among the first 11 of the party. She wasn't. No, she wasn't. She wasn't
She
even.
fitted you in a context.
Because she was working for you.
Okay, so if she was working for NRM, it means NRM had more control in FDC than
Like,
FDC itself.
yes, it did.
So in other words, what we have been seeing as FDC is really a fake thing.
No, that's why.
Controlled by NRM, because Anita Among came there and defeated her.
Listen,
In just
that
1
story,
year.
that story is bigger than what you're saying. And that's exactly what you're suffering inside yourselves.
What is ourselves?
Yourselves. This is why you
NRM, but me, I'm
you
not
have the
NRM.
present
I'm
thing.
PLU.
Yeah, that's why you are infecting the NRM. You have carried the same political virus
From
that you infected us.
FDC.
The Ebola you infected us.
in FDC.
And now you are on stage 4 of cancer, that you have poisoned yourselves. So you have played these rat games, and so the rat has come back to your dining table for serving.
So,
and so be
Angela,
careful, these games you play, they can backfire.
Well,
And they are backfiring so badly.
as Anita Among goes through these tribulations, Andrew, how are the power dynamics playing out within the NRM?
Well, for me, I have been thinking, so Anita Among had, why did she become such a powerful figure? Because the president, previously, if he needed to pass legislation, he would invite members of parliament to State House, serve them tea, pay their loans, pay their medical bills. He would do so many things. And Museveni was spending 3-4 times more money on the house to get his way. When Anita Among came in, she
Purchased legislation.
yes.
Rented support.
Yes, rented support. So when Anita Among came in, her contribution and why she became very powerful, she said, Mr. President, you don't have to do this. I can do it for you. Using maybe 30 or 25% of the money that Museveni was using, she was able to get more than 200-300% results. You see, so she could get more for less. That's what made her powerful, and that's why Kagwanjala. You should leave these little things of the car and all this and focus on what are the big political issues around her issue.
But you see, those are things that are built that power base
those
you're
are
talking about.
you see there is a
This did not happen in a
my
vacuum.
granddaughter, can you
No,
my
it didn't happen
ex-girlfriend.
in a vacuum.
You see why I checked you? It's because you interrupt me. I want a girlfriend who can listen to me. So I was saying, there is a Nobel laureate in economics called Daniel Kahneman. He wrote a book called Noise with two other people. But there is an important point he makes, that whenever you are trying to manage your life or analyze anything, you should avoid noise and look at the signal. So people who are looking at the Rolls Royce, the gorgeous mansions and all this are focused on noise. I am much more interested in the signal. What is the signal?
Yeah, but the Rolls Royce typifies something.
Well, it, I think, captures the emotions of people, but it misleads our analysis. Because, let me give you an example. Rather, the point I was making earlier. You see, I don't think that in dealing with corruption, we need, the most important thing is how individuals live in luxury and stuff like that. That misleads you to understanding the problem of corruption in Uganda or in poor countries and other countries. The corruption we see in Uganda is, we need to look at corruption as a political resource for elections. And it amongst corruption, if maybe 90% of the money that she is alleged to have stolen was not money she stole to buy dresses and build houses. No, it was to buy political support inside NRM. In any case, and that is why I do not know, the Auditor General does audit of Parliament every year. Has there been an audit questioning her expenditure there? You could find out, because
political corruption.
Just for the record,
Political corruption.
I know the Auditor General audits Parliament, but the report is classified as never discussed on the floor of Parliament.
yes. But
Which
what
is a
you know,
misnomer, actually.
if you went to State House
That's
itself,
part of the political corruption.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
if you went to State
And
House, you
has
would
been
find
for a
the
long time, not
president.
just
No, it hasn't been for a long time.
For our president to manage this
You can
country,
track
President
it.
Museveni, he needs to employ a lot of money. I have told you, this man is not revealing it, but because he's part of it. In Kiangwanzi, these MPs had a meeting. The president gave each one a promise of 100 million each to dust themselves from the election. Kakati yabawa a million yabiri cash. They have already in the pocket. Tomorrow they have a caucus. They're going to get another 30. That will be 50. When they have elected both, they will be sacked with another 30. Then he will remain with the why does Museveni get this money? Can he account for it or stuff like that? So I am not interested in how somebody bought better shoes and a better house. Is what is the role of money in the management of our electoral politics? That is the signal. The rest is noise.
So it's a tale of politics, not money.
There is a book you should read. It's written by Michaela Wrong. Michaela Wrong later disappointed me when she wrote a bad book on Rwanda. But there is something she wrote I read her book in 2000. That's 25 years ago. Many of you were not yet born. So she goes looking for Mobutu's money. Mobutu was alleged to have stolen 9 billion or something. She goes, and finally she reaches his bank accounts in Switzerland, and he has, I think, 14 or 24 million he left behind. Now that's a lot of money, but out of 9 billion, so her conclusion is that Mobutu looked at money as a means to an end, the end being power. So a lot of the money he's alleged to have stolen was really to buy political support, to bribe off all these powerful Congolese elites, and so that he can hold his power. If you had audited Museveni, you would find that Museveni is a very simple man. He wears simple clothes from night till he and ginger. Simple shoes, he eats simple food, he lives in a simple house. Museveni is not interested in wearing Louis Vuitton, Dolce & Gabbana, Prada, Brioni. I see Ruto, the president of Kenya, wears Brioni suits which go for $10,000 a suit. So Ruto and Amonga are the same. They like luxurious things. But Museveni is different. But yet Museveni uses a lot of money. Why this money gives to State House is how much? The budget is 500 billion at State House. Now that's the residence of the president. Why does he use it for? We need to understand that Museveni looks at money as a political resource to lubricate his politics, as a resource for politics. And if he takes money out of the national till, it is really to manage power relations rather than to indulge himself wearing expensive clothes, driving luxury cars, and living in gorgeous mansions. The problem with Anita Among is, and this is which surprises me, for a person of her political skills, there was that blind spot in her. She did not see that this exhibition of luxury would tint her in the eyes of many people, and therefore give Museveni a rope to hang her.
Is it
and he has used it
naivety or excitement?
Both, naivety and excitement. But you see, another thing is, because I think she's a very smart politician, she could have used the strategy to say, okay, how can I convince Museveni that I'm not a threat to him? Let me have all this luxury around me, then he knows that he has a rope around my neck. Anytime he can take me out. In which case, he will not feel threatened.
Well,
and in which that way, if that's what she thought, the strategy hasn't worked.
Well, as Anita is being cooked,
but
what
you
is
see-
clear is that NRM is not sophisticated enough to manage this crisis, to manage this
What do you
storm.
mean? It's not sophisticated? Isn't it being managed
No,
well?
it's now PLU in charge.
But PLU is a part of NRM.
So anyway, I know that the president.
I thought you were also part of us in PLU. If
know-
you are not, tonight I'm going to recruit you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's very important. Do you subscribe
And then
to
you can
PLU?
take my job of Director of Communications in PLU.
Do you subscribe to PLU?
No, at least I'm not, but I deal with them. I deal with PLA people. I engage with their activities, but
You are uncomfortable with their disruption.
I want to say that the president, the way I know him, he gives people chance. And this was something he talks about it anyway, publicly. Says, you make a mistake, you steal money, you do this. I want to reform you. It is only when you fail, like when I fail to reform you, you could be a drunkard, you could be what. But if you deliver for me, I'm willing to be patient. I think Anita probably reached this level. I don't think the president needed to talk to her. But also, remember that the president is an intelligence officer of a long period of time. I think even when he praises you, that you are clever, you are entrepreneur level, skills good, probably is letting you lower your guard. It lowers you so that you expose yourself to the fullest. You remember in 2014, before the president removed Right Honorable Mambazi, he actually praised him.
Praised her.
No.
Praised their mama.
Honorable Mama.
Oh, yes.
Actually, we were in a meeting and said some people bring for me rumors that Honorable Mama has these ideas. Only for us to see 13th September, he was chopped. So I think
I remember even before chopping Kaihura.
So I think some people are not very, very sophisticated, I mean politically, especially in the working of the president, underestimate how much he knows, and he takes decisions at a point when he knows nobody will have sympathy, or very few people will have sympathy with you. And therefore,
Correct.
you cannot mobilize against him or against NRM. And that's a skill, I think, which is very good for a leader. I see my brother, Besije, praises Museveni on his strategic understanding of people. When he meets even once, the first day, you give him 30 minutes, he will look at this way. Since we began elections in 2001, at least the election, I was directly involved as a spokesperson of that election. Each time we conclude elections, there are people who buy mansions. There are people who they divert election campaign money. And he complains publicly, say, these people have cheated my money.